Hello and welcome to Status Disclosed. Today. So today we're going to be discussing a topic, and the topic is rejection after disclosing your HSV status and why you shouldn't let it bother you. So, you've met a person that you really like, and you've told that person you have HSV, and they slowly begin to ghost you. Now, before you walk away feeling sad, feeling worthless, and all the work that you've done on yourself to be confident enough to date again, before you throw all of that away, ask yourself, have you seen their HSV results? Before you walk away feeling sad, ask yourself, have you seen their HSV results? And if the answer is no, you should not let that bother you. That person could have walked away for several reasons. And one reason being, believe it or not, is because they actually have it. Yes, it sounds crazy, but human behavior is crazy. Human behavior accompanied with HSV, herpes, it's a psychological trip. Consider this. What if they have a partner and they've already had that conversation and have already established that with their partner, and you were just something on the side? Literally, you were just something on the side. Or what if they have something heavier than HSV, and you bringing HSV up made them shy away from you, and they had no intent to tell you? What if they're HIV undetectable, and the very fact that you brought up HSV made them want to walk away from you because they would have a hard time explaining or telling you that they have HIV? HSV has been around since the beginning of time, since most of you under the sound, what most? Why am I saying most? Since all of you under the sound of my voice listening to this video have been alive. And yet it has kept so many people bound. There is so much scandal connected to HSV. It's really unreal. Because what they don't tell us is that by the age of 50, we will have some strand of HSV. And these are facts, people. Here in a second, we're going to hop on this website. It's the Fred Hutchinson's website. We're going to hop on there and look at some statistics. Why am I using his numbers over any other numbers? It's because Fred Hutchins has hired a virologist by the name of Jerome Keith, or Keith Jerome. Hopefully I'm not getting that wrong, but we're going to look at it in a second. They've hired this virologist, and he is actually doing the footwork on getting this thing cured. Now, mind you, technically it's not a big deal because it goes dormant in so many people's body. Means it goes to sleep. You will never see it again. Some of you will have symptoms one time and never see it again. And some of you will not have symptoms at all, ever. But yet we're so embarrassed. We're so uptight about HSV. And let me say this is not to minimize those of you who suffer outbreaks at all. This is not to minimize those of you who suffer from regular outbreaks. But this is to create the conversation about HSV. And those of you who do have HSV1, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, you're not in a higher class of HSV because you don't have HSV2. Because HSV1, whether you've had genital outbreaks or not, HSV1 can cause genital outbreaks. And this is not said enough among the educational material that we read. Because you have first of all, you have the part of population that think they'll never get it. And then you have that same majority or populate that same, what's the word I'm looking for? That same number of people of the population that thinks once they get HSV1, they're in some type of elite bracket of HSV, which is not true. HSV2 causes genital herpes. HSV1 causes genital herpes. That's the truth of the matter. And with both of them, it depends on how your body reacts to the virus. And with HSV2, it's been said that you're more likely to have an outbreak. But what it doesn't tell you is that it depends on the individual body. It depends on how that person reacts to the virus. Not because you have HSV2, you're going to automatically have outbreaks. No. Just like with people with HSV1 who may have never seen an outbreak in their life, the same applies with HSV2. Or have such mild what's the word I'm looking for? Have such mild symptoms that they go unnoticed. So again, those of you who think you're an elite class of HSV because you only have HSV1, you're not. I've created this channel. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So again, it comes back to how your body reacts to the virus. Period. That's the beginning and end of it. But I'm gonna get some more videos out and we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. But that's it. And we're gonna get into how HSV lawsuits are a scam. Because literally the way this thing works, if the statistics are so high on HSV, and we are not differentiating between HSV1 and HSV2. If HSV1 didn't cause genital herpes as well, we could be having that conversation. We could have that conversation. But the fact that it does cause genital herpes, and what I've noticed in some of these support groups that I'm in, really just collecting information to help not only those people, but the general public who thinks they need to be embarrassed about it. What's not considered, lost my train of thought, but we're going to keep all this in here because this is the actual truth. That's what I was going to say. And what I'm finding out in these support groups is that more and more people are having genital outbreaks due to HSV1. We all like that thing slob down here and there. And that's the truth. Yes, it's a bit X-rated in what I just said and the way I said it, but it's the truth. It's human nature. And we can get into a spiritual aspect of it, but that's not what this channel, this specific conversation is about. So, again, I hope that this video, I may talk about this topic again about rejection, but I hope what I have done in this video so far has given you a healthier perspective of disclosing your status and being rejected. Because sometimes that rejection has, I'm going to say most of the time, that rejection is not because they don't have it. It could honestly be because they've been lying to themselves for so long about having it that it's irrelevant to them, even though they have it. It could be the fact that they've had it for so long and, again, lying to themselves about having it. Or the population that think you can just sage the virus away. And please don't, please, people, those of you who do sage, this is not about sage. I'm just trying to express a point here so we all can get on the same page. Because as long as we're all hiding behind something other than a mainstream cure, if we're hiding behind embarrassment, there are people in power who has this, y'all. There are people in politics who have this, y'all. And ain't nobody trying, excuse my, I'm getting to my little slang here a little bit, but follow me. And nobody is actually putting forth effort to get it cured. If I was a politician, this would be something that I would actually put on the table. What can we do to fund this to get this cured? But you know why? A part of the reason why no one's doing this, because it's so much scandal tied to this. It's so much embarrassment tied to this thing. When literally, and I've done a little research, apparently when it was introduced to the public, there was a certain stigma that was intended. And I'm not trying to get into conspiracy theories here, but apparently there was a stigma that was intended to make us feel the way we feel to this day about HSV. Like you're a part of some elite status when you don't have it, which is never true, is not going to be true for anyone. And then when you do get it, you're part of an elite group if you only have HSV1. And you think you special. You thought you were special. But no, you're not. HSV1 literally causes genital herpes. But again, it goes back to how your body reacts to the virus. There are people in these support groups with HSV too, reporting having no symptoms whatsoever. Again, it depends on how your body reacts to the virus. And that's what we're not being told. Until the next one. See you guys later. So before I let you go, like I said earlier, we're going to take a look at the Fred Hutch Cancer Center website. The reason why I'm choosing this website to look at this information is because this guy was hired by these people to research the virus and work out a main primary cure. Now, I'm only going to read this top portion. We will be getting more familiar with this information, but I just wanted to give a quick read to this section right here, right here, and then we're going to move on until the next video, and we're going to look at this website again, but let's get into it. Research to find better treatments, vaccines, and cures for herpes. This guy, he's a virologist. Okay. Human herpes viruses are a family of pathogens that play an outside role in inflicting pain and misery on people everywhere. This is true, but it seems a little exaggerated because, again, like I said earlier, it depends on how your body reacts to the virus. Not to minimize those who are in pain, but that's okay. We're going to get into the conversation. Herpes simplex 1 is responsible for oral herpes or cold sores. Commonly, that's common. Highly contagious. HSV1. Let me read that again. Highly contagious. HSV1 is estimated to have infected 3.7 billion people. About 2/3 of all population of all people under the age of 50. Well, it has estimated to have infected 3.7 billion people, about 2/3 of all people under the age of 50. So going back to what I said earlier, by the age of 50, you will come in contact with this virus. It can also, let me highlight this little portion. Let me see if I can highlight this. Can I get a highlighter or something on here? It looks like I can't. Look like I might not can highlight this, but we see it. It can also cause genital herpes through oral sex. This is not highlighted enough when we're being educated on herpes. Because you have people, wait, actually, let me finish this. Herpes simplex 2 is a virus responsible for most genital herpes cases. Again, it depends on how your body reacts to the virus. But moving on, HSV2 causes recurrent outbreaks of small, painful blisters and a rash that may take 2 to 4 weeks or more to heal. Now, not minimizing this, but it's a rash, painful blisters and a rash that may take 2 to 4 weeks or more to heal. Some of you know this and you're fine with that. There are people in these support groups talk about their partners all the time and they're cool with it. But that's not what this is about. It can be transmitted even when a person is asymptomatic, meaning no symptoms whatsoever. You can still transmit it, which is why you want to have that conversation with your partner so they'll know the risk that they're taking. You shouldn't have to explain that. They get it. If they choose you, they choose you. About 12% of the U.S. population, age 14 to 49, is infected, about 500 million people throughout the world. So those that have HSV2, you're a special class. Only about, according to this now, and you got to keep in mind, even with this 3.7 billion and with this 500 million throughout the world, these are of the people that's getting tested, darling, of the people that are getting tested. So I'm sure that number is way higher. And of course, the 3.7 billion, definitely higher. Symptoms of genital herpes can be eased with antiviral drugs, meaning a medication. Wouldn't you take, well, those of you who do have high blood pressure, wouldn't you take a medication for high blood pressure if you needed to? Though I recommend just eating better. But wouldn't you? If you had a headache, wouldn't you take a Tylenol? Not trying to minimize this, but literally, what are we talking about? But there is no vaccines against herpes. There is no cure. This no cure part, excuse my French for what I'm about to say, has been fucking us up for years. Because if it's going dormant in my body, meaning dormant means to sleep, if I may have a symptom one time and never again, or if I don't have symptoms at all, why am I so terrified that there is no cure? See, we haven't had people to really talk about this virus in layman's terms. And the reason why I'm talking about it so casually is because, again, I'm in these groups where people are talking about this virus. And I kid you not, there is a 20-something-year-old being diagnosed with this often. It's exhausting to be in that group, which is why sometimes I just kind of turn it off, because this shit is happening every day. Every day somebody is having the same recycled emotions from the person who shared in that group that they was diagnosed that day, and somebody getting diagnosed the day after that, and the day after that. That gets exhausting, because how many times am I gonna cry with how many different people? And I'm not trying to be insensitive, I promise you, but I'm just trying to stress the commonality of this thing. And if we're taught early on, hey, you may, more than likely by the age of 50, you will come in contact with this virus, versus selling it to us like we'll never get it, which is what's so downtrodden for so many people. They feel like they're invincible when you're young and like you'll never get it. And that's the scary part about it. That's what makes it so scary. Not that you actually get it, but the fact that you thought you would never get it. And then you hear, there's no cure. Well, what are we trying to cure exactly? We'll get into that in another video. But I said it like that because if it's dormant in your body and you're not having symptoms at all, or you've had symptoms one time, or even if you get symptoms often and you can take an antiviral to ease those symptoms, hello, if you have to take them, then what are we talking about? But that is all for now. Again, until the next video. Um, Problems of this, I'm going to read this too as well. Problems of this scope demand attention from the world's top researchers. That's why Fred Hutchins scientists with a wealth of expertise in virology have made the study of human herpes virus a priority, which again goes back to why I'm more concerned with what this website says than any other, because they're actually doing the work. All right, until the next one. Talk to you later.